Hello FlossTube, it's Ali from Ali's Stitching Studio in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. Welcome to my channel and my monthly sort of catch up with you all and what I've been stitching and crafting and just the good stuff I've been doing in life. So it is now the 2nd of May 2022 and I try to do my videos around the start of every month. So that's been my sort of general pattern this year. So let's see if we can keep it going. We're into May, so we're on a winning streak at the moment. So I would like to show you all the different things, starting off with cross stitch. So this month I went into my cross stitch sort of plan on a high. I did want to finish this one project that I had grabbed back out. Excuse me, I knew this was going to happen. I've got so much stuff piled up here. There is a chance of an avalanche at some stage. So I had this project put down. It's Modern Folk Embroidery's celebration of Jane Austen's 200 years since her passing. So it's the Real Comfort, I think it's called. And I finally finished this piece up. And it's just a DMC black thread on a copper penny. This is witchelt, I've found out. Witchelt fabric called copper penny. I love it. I've got a little bit more of it there, but I will definitely buy some more when I see it. It's a linen. I think it was 32 count. Super, super, super happy with this. I think it looks amazing. I had put it down. I had a thought about maybe a lot of people I see stop after the houses and don't do the alphabet, but I'd sort of, when I put it down, I had started with a little bit with a few of the alphabets, and when I picked it up, I whizzed through that, I think in under a week. So, beautiful. I've kept, the chart was 1817 to 2017, and I've put in 2022 because that was the year I finished it. So absolutely beautiful, easy, fun, like all of his charts are. So that's Modern Folk Embroidery, Real Comfort for a finish. So I was very, very happy with that. That will get framed at some point this year. So from there then I thought, well, be a good girl, Ali. You've committed to wipgo. Get on to that. My two charts for this month were, which one did I do first? This one. Hades Amore Tiger. Now, this is a massive $190,000 stitch count piece. It's a lovely tiger. There's a reflection of his image in the lake. It's beautiful. Designer is Juan Sato. So I haven't stitched on this for years. When I picked it up, I didn't have too much of this second page done, and my goal was to finish this top page as little spotty stitches and to finish all of this, and I just pulled up short of motivation, but I did get a chunk of it done. I'm really happy. I mean, this was barely started, this page, and you can see, and there's a bit. And as I showed last time, it's got an unusual border where there's a bit of a shadowing here like a vintage page. So I'm happy with that. As I've said, this is, I've termed this mustard hell. It's a hell of mustard. It's only in that corner. So the whole chart, if that was like that, I'll be buying some mustard fabric and restarting it. But yeah, I'm happy with that. I didn't quite get what I had that loose goal. On my wipgo board, I haven't actually written out what my goal is. It's just to get onto the pattern and see where it falls at the time, where I end up. And then I got a head rush. I've had a few head rushes this month. And you know where I'm going. I'm showing you this one. This is my bag that I made a few months ago. Put my own little beaded twirly thing on it. autumn at Hawk Run Hollow, and I decided on the piece of fabric that I had, it wasn't big enough to fit everything, and I didn't want these bottom 4 on anyway. I didn't want the banner. So I have been stitching this little baby, and I love it. It's fun. It's really comfort stitching. And last time I picked this up, I did that the month before, and I have done about half a block or so there, I'd say. That's about half a block. Subbed in some of my own oranges. I didn't have what they called for there. This is just so comforting. It's all block stitching. I just find that quite quick and easy and mindless. So there we go. That is coming along, and I love stitching on this. I can see that getting a lot of focus for the rest of 2020 here and there. Just keep picking it up because it seems to always call my name, and I love seeing this bag in my little basket of goodies by my lounge where I stitch over there. It's a nice bag to look at. And then I thought to myself, well, Ali, you really need to get onto the other wipgo thing, because I'm trying to be even and go 15 days roughly per chart. And this is another one of my bags. I didn't even look at this. I didn't even pick it up. My Thai dances. I didn't even open this bag during the month. So that's my first wipgo fail. I didn't even touch that in the wipgo month. So I've been really good. I've had some finishes. I've had chunks of stitching on all the things that have come up. That didn't even open that bag, because this is what I'm blaming. I looked at all the market releases, and I have made a promise to myself, because I have just committed to go to Stitch North in Toronto, Canada. So I'm heading over there next April, and I'm going to meet a lot of friends, and it's going to be wonderful. And then after that, I'm going back to stay at Pammy Reed's house, who is a good friend of mine in Newfoundland, for a week or so. We're going to finalise dates with that. But so I saw all these market releases. I'm like, I'm just not going to spend. I'm going to save my money now for my trip, save for the retreat. I'm really excited, and I'm focused on that goal as a sort of 12-month goal of stitching things. Stitching budget is all going to go to that retreat. But I did see one thing that I just thought, oh my God, like I literally need that. I need that in my life. And it's really not often that I find something come in and I'm stitching the it chart, because I tend to, once again, I haven't turned my phone off, folks. I'm so sorry. Anyway, hopefully it'll be quiet. And I saw this, Let Love Rain by Teresa Kogut. I love this. I love the style of this book. It's very beautifully done. So these are the 3 charts in there. There's only 3 charts, but that is a lot of stitching. This is beautifully presented, and I am quite tempted before they sell out to get the other 2 or so I'm interested in. Here you go. She actually shows them in the back. I really like Gather, and that's too American for me, but I really like Gather, and I really like this flurry one. So, but definitely this one. And yeah, I don't generally buy a lot of the new stuff, but a couple of years ago I got that Newcastle bouquet, and that was a chart of Teresa Kogut. So I would call myself a fan of Teresa Kogut, I guess. These blues and browns appeal to me, and I'll show you a full picture of the chart. You all know it, Let Love Rain. It is like the it chart for 2022. Stunning. Look at it. It's quite big too. So I was just very traditional and started up here, and I'm working my way across. I've come to the second house, or this way, whichever way. Everything's reversed and backwards. I'm having a holiday today. It's our Labour Day, so my brain is well and truly turned off. Oh, I've put my Stitch North stuff in this bag because because. I have a loose goal of finishing this project and having it to display on the finished table at the retreat. How's that for a goal? Hey? That's my goal. Now, this is XJU Design fabric. When that book came, I looked through my stash. I had all the DMCs, but the only piece of fabric that I had that would have been big enough to deal with this, and that was in the right colorways, was this XJU Design Old Sheep. And it's perfect. It's perfect. I was so happy to have had a fat half here. So here we are. This is where I got up to. This is a lot of fun. Oh yeah. Got a bit of grass. Stopped midway. I'll tell you why I jumped out of this, because I was really thoroughly loving it. What she's managed to really make these colours sing. This is just DMC. It's just DMC, and look at it. Now, there was a choice with this wording to do that. She suggested either black or 3371 or something else. I went with 3371 because I'm a fan of that with this colourway. I think it doesn't look as stark. So it's going to come to about here or so. So I will have a little bit left on there, and there's a lot of fabric here. I'm not going to run short, so I will have a bit of this old sheep left. But that is my start on this. This is really, really hard to put down once you get going. Again, a lot of blocky stitching that you can really get your teeth into. I loved this, but I was stitching on this last week very innocently, and I had a sudden thought. One of my trainers at the gym that I spend quite a bit of time with every week is getting married, and I thought I'd like to make her like a wedding sampler. And I've always loved the Stitch Rovia wedding samplers that I've seen. Like, they're quite modern looking graphic style, like Emma Congdon is famous for in a wedding sampler. And I've never had, you get to my age, and I don't often go to weddings now. That was all in my 20s and 30s, so that your peer group were getting married, and I would go to a wedding once every 5 years now, if that. So anyway, so I had this squirrel moment where I said, yes, I'm going to stitch one of those and have a look and see if I can see something, because I had a flick through my things. I didn't have any wedding samplers. If I had a piece of fabric that I liked that would go with the Emma Congdon chart, and when I jumped on her Etsy page, yeah, I definitely saw one straight up that appealed to me. And that is called All You Need Is Love. Now, this is not that big a piece. It's not. $16 centimeters by 21 on 14 count. So it's 87 stitches by 116. That, that's not a big chart for me. I normally do quite big pieces. So I looked at a piece of something light mocha, I think. I had here from somewhere. Can't remember. And here we go. We've made a start. This is only 3 or 4 nights stitching, actually. So it's going to go really quickly. I'm making a start on the O there. That's the V. I have done my own. I've kept half the colours and put my own take on it with mint julep. I've put Classic Colourworks mint julep. I've put hazelnut Classic Colourworks in there. And this is a red, my favourite red from Victorian Motto Sampler Club. And the others are DMCs. I'm really liking how that's looking. And what I'm planning on doing is putting this, I'll get it properly framed. And I think a nice white sort of chunky, ornate white frame would look quite classic and nice and fresh I don't know what the inside of her house looks like, so I don't know what her what she decorates like. She might be too young to have a decorating style. I don't know. So I'm hoping that this is something that she will just treasure and love. But on the chart, it had this letter all was unstitched. It was just blank space on that, like it wasn't stitched. It says all, but on there, because they're doing that on white fabric, that the letters of all through the jade stitching, it popped. But my jade color is mint julep, so the mint color's a step down from the jade here. The fabric I've got's more sepia tone, so it's a step down from the white. It was lost. You couldn't see the word all. So when I'm reading it and looking at it, it looks like it said, you need is love. There was no word all is there. So that's, and I was aware that that might be an issue when I looked at everything. So I thought, no, that's okay. And I'll pull some of that red in. There's the red heart, obviously the red there, and then we'll bounce off with the 4 red hearts. So it'll all look balanced and even from a color perspective. But I'm really, really happy with that coming up. I'll have this done by the end of this week. It's quick, and I am at night. I'm right at the end of a whole series worth of the TV show, which I talked about last time, which was Elementary. So I'm in season 7, episode 6, and there's only 14 episodes. So I'll finish out watching Elementary while finishing off this sampler. If I when I finish this, I need to really probably focus on doing some wipgo things. I don't want that missing a project to feel like I've derailed everything and jump out of the wipgo motivational thing that's going, because I really quite like it. I think it's very clever. It works for me, but I've just been a little bit distracted by the Teresa Kogut piece. But I want to stitch the Teresa Kogut piece. I really want to stitch that sampler, and I really want to stitch the Ornament Hawk Run Hollow. They're the 3 that are screaming at me at the moment, but I will try and get in some of this wipgo stuff as well. There might be something in there that grabs my eye and grabs my attention. So it's funny now, I've got that retreat. It's really exciting as an Australian to go that far to a retreat. Obviously we've got retreats here, and that connection with Pammy, obviously she's come and stayed here with me on holidays. I've stayed at hers. We've got a friendship that goes back quite a few years now. I started filming, I think, in about 2015, and I think we've been friends, I want to say, from around then. We got struck up a friendship quite early on in me filming, so we've been mates for a long time now and talk regularly, so it's just going to be really nice to see her family again and socialise with them and see her beautiful home and her surroundings. It's a gorgeous place to visit in and of itself, let alone all the stitching that we'll get to do and the talking and the laughing and drinking wine and all that kind of stuff that we like to do as buddies. So looking forward to that and focusing on Stitch North, and sorry for all those stitching people I prop up with my budget spending. It's going to be dialed down for a little bit and just focus on what I've got here. I've got so many beautiful things. And I have thought in the past of doing like a stash dive and showing you everything, but it is an embarrassment of riches. So I don't know how I actually feel about that. I don't know how I feel about showing everything I've got at once. It couldn't be in one video. It would have to probably be a series of about 6 videos to show my stash, and that's slightly embarrassing. Anyway, so there's 3 numbers for wipgo this month. I've got them written down. Don't know. Doesn't matter. These are what the 3 symbols are on my page. My 3 numbers on my page. So 6 pages from 1603. I started this when I came back from my retreat in America last time. I brought this from Arlene over there. It's a beautiful chart. I don't know why I didn't didn't do more. I got a ball of, this is Silks for You in a colourway. I picked this up from a de-stash sale. And I've paired it with 3865, by the looks of it, and a blue 3755. I love Arlene's charts. They're really different. They're geometric. There's all different styles in there. And that's what this looks like on this little bit of mystery hand-dyed linen. Again, I picked this up at somewhere. I don't know. I don't know if that white's a little bit too lost in there for me. I don't know. I've got to think about that. But I am loving that on there. So let's have a look. Yeah, it's that white. There's a lot of it there. And it's kind of lost, isn't it? But it looks alright in person. So I've got to have a think about that. I might try and put that little bit of 3755 in wherever it's going to come in next, because it's only a 3-colour chart, and see how I feel about the white once the blue's next to it. And if the white, I won't put any more white in now, I'll get that blue next to it. With this, I'm really happy with that colour. See how I feel about it, and whether the white has to be subbed out for something else. But okay, so that'll give me a bit of fun to have with that chart this month. So that's one of the wipgo numbers. It's pretty. I like it. I can't remember because she's got different blues and the whole tile's the one colour, whether I was going to chop it up or go the one colour for that one, the one colour for that. Okay. I can't remember. I started this 4 or 5 years ago now. Wow. Time really races by. Now, this is one of the other numbers on wipgo, and I tell you what, this thing hangs around like a bad smell, and I never want to work on it either. I don't know why. Ink Circles Kaleidoscope. I literally feel like this has been an ongoing whip of mine since Adam was a boy. Pre me having Instagram, I think. Anyway. I went through a stage of ice dyeing fabric, which was fun. I haven't done that for years either. And I ice dyed some Ada. And I think, where's my T for top? There we go. T for top. So I am across to the width of that. I'm not sure if that's the base of it there. I don't know even why I don't stitch on this, because it's quite pleasant to stitch on when I have it. I think it's because I don't know what to do with it when I'm finished, because it doesn't suit my house to have it up in the house. But yesterday, day before, Mary Weeks, one of my friends who follows me on Instagram and on my channel here, hello Mary, I know you're going to be watching, shared with me a bag designer, Deborah Harries, who converts needlework into bag designs. Now I have actually done that with a project bag, a koala. It's over there, I'll show you another time. But I'm thinking of when I'm looking through my whips now and thinking about stitching them when I don't have anything to stitch that with. I kind of like the idea of that on a bag, Mary. So yeah, looking at that would be a good bag size, the front of a bag, like an actual bag to take out like she shows with handles. And I've got in Ali's Aladdin Cave style crafting venue you happen to be situated in at the moment, which is a double garage. It's been converted into a craft room, so I have this whole space as a craft room. It's outrageous. Anyway, I have a bag making section, which is ironic because I haven't made a bag yet, have I? I've made project bags, but I'm talking bags with, I've got straps, handles, I've got like plastic, vinyl, I've got wooden handles, I've got plaited woven handles, I've got bag clasp, I've got magnetic clasp, I've got all it. I've got not a tub, a small tub, a small section of these bag making things. So I think I might look at a bag project, and these kinds of whips that are a little bit kind of, how's your father, I don't know what to do with them, I might like to convert into a bag. See if I, and then therefore extend my goals of actually making a bag one day and just following patterns and making up some bags. They can't imagine they're that hard. They've just got a lining and there'll be a pattern out there for me for a bag. And then, yeah, incorporating this as the stitched piece on front. So that's, thank you, Mary. Again, it takes a community, doesn't it? So that's a little missing piece of the puzzle for some of these whips that most of my whips I'm still quite happy with, but others like this, I don't know what to do with it. It's, but I do now. Thank you, Mary. You saved the day. So that is one of my wipgo ones. So again, I've now got a little bit of a purpose attached to that. I think that's what we're probably all like that, right? So if you don't have a purpose attached to what you're stitching, you can lose, your flame can go out a little bit, you know, on why you're burning it, why you're working on it, because you don't have an end game or you don't have a thought process attached to it. This one I love. I picked this up in a D-stash sale and it came with the thread as well. It's Carrie's Creations threads. It's ink circles. Cirque de Carrie, maybe? I don't speak French. So I have got this purpley navy blue thread. I think it's like 10 skeins or 12 skeins of it or something. Look at it. This is silk, is it? Hand-dyed silk. This is lovely because I would never have, oh, I'll have to keep these. I've got spare stickers. I can put these in my junk journaling. I got some of that to show you today as well. I would not have brought that myself. That smells lovely. That's really quite lush, and I wouldn't have brought that myself. Here is, and I decided that it really needed to be on a bright white. And this is a 28 count antique white, so it's not bright. It's making a liar of me, but it does look white. It's this way. Here we go. So I've done a chunk of that when I've been onto this in the past, and this is one thread and it stitches up quickly and it looks beautiful. So I can actually see, I'm really glad I wasn't going to pull out the wipgo charts for this month, but I'm glad I have now because as I'm talking to you about them, I'm getting a little bit excited again about possibilities. I'm gonna work on this one first. I really love it. I've got to finish that wedding sampler. Even though the wedding's not till August, I'd really like it, get it finished, get it in at the framers. If there's any hold up with the framer, there's not going to be any drama about anything with that. I really do like to be very, very prepared when it comes to presents of that nature, of specific. It's all right if I'm randomly making something for my family. There's no timeline. It's not a special occasion gift that I'm going somewhere and I need it for something. It's just a random gift for someone I love. That's fine. But this kind of a wedding sampler, to me, I'm really going to do everything I can to get that out on time and get it out early so it's off my radar. I'm not stressing about it. I'll have it beautifully wrapped, ready to go, you know. Yeah, I definitely think this one will be my first wipgo that gets a bit of a go. It's gorgeous. Really fun. Really, really fun, this piece. Oh, good. Well, I'm glad I showed you the 3 wipgos for this month because she pulled the number 13, which sits in the middle, and that's supposed to be a free chart. But I actually had number 13 as it's got a piece attached to it on my board. Hang on a sec, I just spilt some walnut ink. I've got, this is, it's in a sprayer, so it didn't leak, that's good. So just as an aside, I had walnut crystals from paper crafting 20 years ago, and I looked them out last year before maybe, and I always have a batch of walnut stain on the go in one of these sprayers, and if I want to age paper, if I want to age some material, bang, done quick. So this just sits on my paper crafting table, which is behind me here. And when I put that project on the side table here, it just knocked this over, and I heard it and I went, oh, I do. If this leaks, I do not want walnut stain on my ink circles. White fabric, I was just very proudly showing you. That would kind of be disastrous. But not totally unprecedented in Ali's world. So, what else have I been doing? I had a viewer, Louise Stinton, who commented on my last video and asked about me showing my wool applique project. So, I am a fan of the lovely lady Deirdre from Creek Quilts. And when I discovered her work somewhere, excuse me, I can't remember where that was, somewhere, I thought, I'm sure I've seen her work somewhere. So I went back through my magazines, and I've got Quilt Mania. This is a French magazine. I've got, that's a laundry basket quilts. I've got lots of different quilt magazines here. Lo and behold, I find Deirdre from Creek Quilts. So I've got half a dozen of her charts already. She's the beautiful designer from Tasmania that I showed you her work last video, or the video before when I went through. I brought some fabrics of hers and some patterns. So they're on my sort of to-do quilting list. But this is, that's the actual pattern. So I've made all the blocks. Now, I didn't go those colorways. What I did is I decided to put in my William Morris fabric that I had here. So I've made this with William Morris fabric for the, these are courthouse step blocks, and that's a log cabin block. So I've made all of these surrounding blocks and squared them up. And there was 2 or 3 orphan blocks that I couldn't get to square properly. And I've made one of those into a project bag, and I'll make the other 2 as well. So when they didn't work out, that was fine. I saved those orphan blocks, what we call orphan blocks, because they just aren't usable in the quilt that you intended them to be. And so I've got 4 of these wool applique inserts, but of course I've used William Morris fabric, so I needed the wool applique blocks here, 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks for the colorways to suit my choice of fabric. So these are the I haven't touched this project for a year now, I'd say. These are William Morris fabrics that I purchased a long time ago. Courthouse step blocks, more courthouse step blocks. Now these 4 corner ones with the blue, that's not William Morris fabric, but it went nicely with that. So that's the log cabin block, that's called, and I've just used like a cream. It's not calico, but it's that kind of a look. And this is one of my wool applique blocks. So I've got another 3 of these to do, and they'll go in the center. So you can see I've used those lovely olive greens, the sort of the tomato red, the blues, and they all go, is it this way or that way, I'm not sure. And then you just hand stitch down with, I've just used cotton to hand stitch that down. I didn't want a chunky look. Anyway, so that's, I've got to do another 3 of these wool appliques, piece all that together. That's not an awfully big quilt, so that's the kind of thing I've done with the anticipation of hanging it in my dining room above a big like wooden cabinet that I've got there holding things. So I've got big cathedral ceilings in my house. They're 20 feet, so I've got 2 big wall sections where I can hang big quilts, and I've yet to do it. So I would anticipate that quilt. I mean, we're going to have to get up on a massive ladder and sort of get hubby to stand up there and hold it up and see if I like the look of it. We'll see if my marriage survives that one. And yes, if I like the look of it and the size of it versus the size of the cabinet under it looks like the proportions look all right. Be quite the. I'll be sure to document that because it's going to be amusing and equally terrifying day when this thing's finished and needs to be mounted somewhere. So stay tuned. But that's the Lyndhurst quilt from Creek Quilts, and hopefully will be hanging up in my house sometime this year, maybe. Let's see. You know, I'm over halfway on it. So, excuse me while I have a little drink. It's thirsty work doing these videos. So, I have got halfway through making a project bag. I'll just start. I don't know. Actually, I do know why I haven't finished it. I started it last week. I've had this fabric sitting out for a long time, and I found this Alice in Wonderland fabric, and I ummed and ahed about what to put with it, and I decided I'd bring in some dark denim. Now, I love making these style of project bags. I really have. Go to Celeste Creates. I follow her style of project bag with a top-loading zipper, like you've seen this top-loading zipper. So I do all of the beautiful stuff on the front. I like them heavily quilted. That's my idea of, like, it gives a little bit of stability. And then obviously I just line the inside. It takes, you know, a fat quarter to do one side. You get a little bit of change on a fat quarter piece. So if I don't have matching fat quarters, I've got a lot of random fat quarters there, so I like to use them up for inserts. I'm quite a scrappy person. I like the bit of eclectic, you know, not mixy matchy stuff. So you can see here this actual one on the front of this bag is my mum years ago brought an embroidery machine. She doesn't even have it anymore, but when she was learning how to use it, she did a lot of all these things, like a lot of these little learning the embroidery on the machine. And when she handed over the machine to me, which I've passed on to someone else, I had all these samples and I just kept them, and I thought, oh, I could do something with them. I started making these project bags and I thought, perfect. So I've just coordinated what I thought looked quite nice. So this is my style of project bag. Lots of stippling there. That's quite open stippling, quite big. Anyway, so that's the style of project bag I like to make. So I make the front, a big fuss on the front of a bag. That's my thing. It's all, holy, look at the front. Look how fancy and pretty I am. So that's my goal. So it's an Alice. So in case you weren't sure what, Alice in Wonderland's on the material, but then she's put a whopping big name in the middle there. Alice, I've put a heart there. And I really love the look of machine blanket stitch on things. It's so easy. Look at, let's see if I can get this. Kath, if you're watching this from Tasmania. So this is blanket stitching on the sewing machine. It's easy. It looks perfect. But this is the smallest area I've done blanket stitching on the sewing machine before. So all these numbers look good. A, L, I, C. I mean, these are done in minutes. It's so quick compared to doing it by hand. But I got to the E, and I had done that. I did not like how the blanket stitch went around the corners. It looked so funky and ugly. So I have unpicked it, and I'm going to have another go. And if that blanket stitching on the E doesn't sit neatly on the machine, I might do it by hand, or I might be random and just leave A-L-I-C blanket stitched, and the E can be a random not done. But to finish this front of this bag off, because as I said, I like things to be random and a bit different, I've got 3 yo-yos here, and these are from my friend Lena. Hello, Lena, from Till the Last Stitch. She sent me a heap of yo-yos years ago. So I'm going to somehow put those in a collection of 3 together. This is awfully hard to show you guys, this kind of stuff, while filming. So they'll go collectively somewhere. And then I've got 3 blue buttons to go into the center of the yo-yos. So they'll be organized on the front of that bag somewhere. And the back of the bag, I don't know, I've got a mountain fabric here. It'll be something semi-coordinated. And why did I do an Alice bag, you ask? Good question. Because I was stash diving, as is wont to do. This is what I do when I'm saving money. I look through all of the things that I already own. And I have these two Alice charts, and then I'd been going through my fabric and I saw my Alice fabric, and I thought, Ali, make an Alice bag for your Alice charts, and they can live happily forever after in their own bag. Now, if you see me start these two Alice charts this year, give me a stern talking to, will you? Because I've no business starting these charts. I just wanted to start a project bag with that material, and they can be housed in there. I have got an idea to dye some of my own fabric in a grey colour, but a deeper grey than that. I really like this one, and this one I picked up from a D-stash. I might even do them both on the same colour, dyed grey. I want to dye it like a stormy day fabric, like it's about to hail. We get a lot of hail in Queensland. Your sky goes like grey and you get green clouds and stuff. I kind of want that feeling for these two pieces for some bizarre reason. So there to go in that project bag. As I said, slap me around the head if you see me start those this year. It's not to happen. So that is my wipgo intentions for this month. I definitely will get straight back onto that wedding sample and knock that out this week while finishing my TV show. Another thing that I've been working on diligently since last November is my junk journaling. Now, I started this junk journal. I sent one to my friend Lisa in Kindred Stitcher last year to say thank you for some things that she'd sent me, and I sent her a blank one, and it had all like sewing things, themed pages and stickers and stamps and whatnot in there. So she has that in her house and in Washington State, and obviously then I said to her the intention was if you go to a retreat or you have stitchy friends or your photos of your projects or thread packets or whatever you want to save, notions and things you can stick in that journal, so it's like a collection. So this journal I've styled on her sort of style that I did for hers, because I really quite liked what I came up with for that. So I've got the hand stitched in side, I've got the beads dangling from the edge, I've hand stitched on a pre-printed panel from Natalie Bird at Birdhouse Designs. She's an embroidery artist in Brisbane here. I do really like advocating for Australian designers very much. You're going to hear me do that time and time again when I can. So Birdhouse Designs, and she does this kind of embroidery. She's very clever. She does her quilting too. Please check that out, Birdhouse Designs. And so I think I picked up a ½ metre of this pre-printed little squares of panels, and I've got another one here to show you in a second. So I've decided that I'd really like them on the front of my junk journals. And I don't need to have them to coordinate with anything. They're all different themes, these little images. So the one that I did for Lisa had like a sewing, I think it had a sewing hoop and it said sewing or stitching on it. So this was just one that I knocked this up. It's very quick, like one night of sewing. And I just got at it with the pinking shears and then stitched that down. Now this, I'll show you when I show you my next one that I'm going to start. This was a cereal box. Unbelievable. I've talked about this before. Please go back and reference that video that I did all about Lisa's journal. It's only like 15 or 20 minute video, and I talk about the different junk journal channels that I've been following. I haven't watched some junk journaling on YouTube for months and months now, but I'm sure there's even probably more girls to watch now. I'm not being sexist, they're generally girls. I haven't seen any males doing junk journaling. So the idea is that inside you have signatures. So 1, 2, 3, 4 signatures. This is finished now. It's a chunky monkey. So you put, for those of you who don't know what junk journaling is, if you are someone who was an avid paper crafter back in the day, and you've got all your stickers and you've got your papers and things, what am I going to do with them? You can make these little, oh, look at me as a bride. Here I am, walking down with my Papa Bear. So I use them as journal keeping. There's my kitties when they were little. All my scrapbooking I do. There's my husband, there's me as a baby. Old photos I've got I really love this. There's my mama and my child. A bit of a vintage look on stuff there. I was when I was 16, living out of home. A lot of writing. I like the vintage papers, sticking everything down in there, doing some writing. So I've got a collection of photos and just images. It's me and my siblings when we were little. There we are as very annoyed teenagers. So you can see quite like and I really like this. So these are, I did the 4 signatures and I sewed down the front panel and put the signatures together of the paper. And then over the last 6 months, I've been decorating the book. Okay. And I saved Garfield cartoons because I think he's the most funny cat in the history of the world. Funny. So yeah, bits and bobs. And this is just a great way of using up. Yeah, put a little yo-yo on that one of Elena's yo-yos. Like reflections, talking about things. There's my daughter, she's very fit. She's becoming a personal trainer. She's awesomely fit. Yeah, so here we go, and I've a little pocket. That's a little picture of our fireplace in winter on a tag. Yeah, so there's my other daughter. So there we go. There she is again. Yeah, so it's just a way you put in scrap pieces of paper. I've got books on plants up there, different things that I picked up at the secondhand store. I picked up a heap of books and I was looking specifically for 60s and 70s illustrated artwork. And whatever. So I've kept myself to half a shelf because I'm telling you what, I'm a little bit over the top with that kind of stuff, and I could have had a million books from that shop, and I got everything in like 1 week, and I'm like, that's it now until I use all this paper. I'm not buying anything else because it's ridiculous. You really can hoard, and I've already hoarded. I've got some paper in here, but girls are saying, if you can get a hold of this. And I'm thinking, yep, I've got a heap of that, I've got a heap of this. So because I've got paper crafting stuff from decades of being a paper crafter, if you're a scrapbooker and paper crafter from 20 years ago when that hobby was huge, I was deeply involved with it. This is a good thing to get onto now and use up some of those supplies. So what I have got ready to go for my next one is my cereal box. Would you believe it? So it's an all brand. This is a cereal here. So it'll come as a cereal box, and this is the side here that had where the seam joined. So you open that out, open it up, trim it so all the edges are off, and that's your book cover. Can you believe it? Now I paint on the inside of the binding, on the inside of the spine. Now this one I painted pink, right? Because there's a bit of pink on the outside. So it looks very finished when it's finished. And then I'm going to put this scrapbook paper on the outside, right? Bend it around. I've got to decide actually whether I like that one. This is from the same paper pack from Close to My Heart, or that's big size or little print. And also then equally, if that's going to be the one on the inside or that's going to be the one on the inside. I've got to have a decision process. But on the outside, I'm going to do the same style. I'm loving that style that I did with the little embroidered image. I don't know why I cut this out of the big panel. Now I've got to find a little hoop for it or just attach this to something. I'll just sew it to something and cut out the back and put it into a hoop. I'm a fool. But anyway, so that's the little owl, and he's going to go on the front of the next one with those. I'm thinking it might be this big one. I really like this big print. So he'll be all stitched up, sitting on the front of that. And I'll have another junk journal on the go. And that's my goal. I've looked at my threads for that. So that's my goal, to finish a junk journal and just have another one on the go. And it's just like a junk journaling process. It's really quite... we use old pizza boxes. This actually isn't old. It's a brand new pizza box that I've got at a crafting retreat. That's just, I had to mix some paint. Yeah, so that's what I'm storing my next junk journal in, ready to go. So I've got a box now of, I've got my family to save cereal boxes and things, so I've got probably another 10 journals worth sitting there, so I don't want any more saved for me at the moment, because as I said, I don't want to be too much of a pack rat. What else did I want to show you? So I wanted to talk about, I did quickly mention on the last video a big full coverage piece that I had finished and I was very proud of. Now I had the intentions of showing all of my full coverage charts and whips that I have, because I've got probably 4 or 5 full coverage pieces on the go, and I have probably about another 6 kitted, and I probably have about 20 or 30 charts. So I had the intention of showing you, doing a full coverage sort of bonanza from my craft room, but I knew I had a lot to talk about. Now we're at 51 and a half minutes and we're just getting to show some full coverage, so I won't put that into this video. Whether I do a standalone, I'll have a think about that, or just tack things under videos, my monthly video. Here we are with the only, I think, full coverage that I have finished, although a lot of the pieces I do are quite full coverage, chunky and lots of stitching. This is Van Gogh's Sunflowers. So I'll just bring it in for you to see. I got a pattern from a craft show. Cannot remember the name of this company, even when I'm told it, I forget it again quickly. This is a chart that does have a lot of variations of it out there. This is the one that I saw that was closest to the original colorways. I've got some beautiful layered sort of mats and things in there. And I wanted this, I got this framed, I don't know, when did I frame this? Maybe 15 years ago. And I did want it to look museum piece and traditional and timeless. I want it to look timeless. It's got museum class on it. And I really do think it hasn't aged. This is going to look fabulous. This is going to look fabulous. I hope you can hear me talking. This is going to look fabulous forever. I love it. So there we go. That's a piece that took me a long time to do because I started it and then I didn't stitch on it for years, and then I do a little bit and then not stitch on it for years. And I remember having the last, probably 4 pages with little stitches here and there, and I had a look at it all, and it was all variations of brown, and I had those 4 or 5 browns, the symbols all lined up, and I'm like, these are so just a slight, stitch off a color shade off each other. I'm just going to bang out what's left here in all the same colors. So I grabbed one of the threads and went and just filled in all these leftover stitches, and bang, it was literally done in half an hour. And I had just been stalling on that thing for so long because I just got burnt out on it, and I thought, you fool. And I look at it now, I can't tell what I did. I can't tell. It is such a beautiful piece. You can't, it was somewhere in through here. Like I had the last bits of here, and look at it. It's gorgeous. So it's funny how some things stall our stitches and we just get bogged down mentally and stuff and then don't move forward. So anyway, that's my Van Gogh Sunflowers don't know the name of the chart. It doesn't matter. I have seen that piece. There's a lot of companies doing masterpieces from the master famous artists from around the world. So that will not be hard to find a chart for Van Gogh sunflowers if you are all interested. Google it and have a look. You'll find one. It's beautiful. I wanted that in my house. I was so excited. I love sunflowers. I was so excited for that to be my first finished piece. And something else I wanted to talk about was a book that I'm reading at the moment. Now, I've not finished this, so this is probably, I don't know if this is a clever move for me to talk about this. I do read every day, and I've read 3 or 4 books this month. I've read 2 books by Evelyn Hugo Wood, is that her name? The Daisy Jones and the Sixth Author. So the 2 books I read by her were Malibu Rising and 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. They were fine. They reminded me a bit of Jackie Collins with probably a little bit more emotional depth to them. So I did feel like I was back in my childhood. I read Jackie Collins. I whizzed through her books when I was 14 and 15 and 16. And I did feel like I was Ali back in the 80s, sitting in my backyard, tanning myself with reef oil, reading Jackie Collins, because that's where I was, sucking on a cordial. So that author took me back to my home as a teenager. They were fine. They were time passes. And then I read a book by Emma Donoghue called The Wonder, which had a lot of religious content, which made me a bit angry with that story. So this one, A Visit to the Goon Squad, is a Pulitzer Prize winning author, and this book is a Pulitzer Prize winning book. It's different. It is well written. I love character-driven novels. I don't need everything blowing up. I don't like world building of sci-fi and fantasy. I'm happy with the world. I don't like world building books whatsoever. I know they're hugely popular, but I really, really zone out. I am not interested. So anything that's based on real life, real characters with things that could actually happen. This is very cynical and smart and funny, and the timeline changes and chops between people and times and places, and it's all interconnected somehow. I hope I haven't embarrassed myself to bringing this to the table if something happens at the end of this book that everyone's going to be, oh my God, Ali, did you make me read this? It is a bit gritty. My mother started reading this before I did, because I've got a library of about 400 books here, and she comes and grabs books as she wants to read them, and I said, because I've got another one of hers and she enjoyed it, Manhattan Beach, and I said, I've got her first one there. Won a Pulitzer Prize, you might enjoy that. And she was back with it the next day. Oh no, that's not for me. And I said, there's a bit of sex in there, was there? So I know that's her benchmark. She won't enjoy reading it. So when I say something's gritty, it's generally got a little bit of sexual content. This has, if you're fazed by that, don't read it. But it's very, so far, smart, funny, laugh out loud stuff has happened, and it's just human emotions and connections and stuff. I'm really enjoying it. So, as I said, if I get to the end of this book and I find out, oh my Lord, why did I even show that to people? I hope that doesn't happen. So take that as half a book review of a half-written book. Now, the last thing I need to do today is show you the project bags that I had as a giveaway. Now, I am going to do a draw here on the video and mention who has won, and I'll then make a comment on your comment, and hopefully you'll see that and contact me with your details. I'll also put it up on my Instagram page so you can see who won. And I did have the provision when I talked about this in my video last month, but they needed to be Australian viewers. This is an Australian bag seller called Andrea at PhilN69, and she ships to Australian viewers. So I would really obviously like to promote this to Australian viewers because she's not going to ship international orders. So there's a little inside bag, beautiful fabric, And then she has the bigger bag with the complementary fabric. So that's Phil and 69, and she does a beautiful job. She has lovely bags. I showed them on my last video. I would really like you to go and like her Instagram page, follow her page, support her by buying some bags. I will link her down below, and I'll just do a draw now and let you know who's won. I'm using this to draw today's drawing, right? I've got all the names in here. I'm very high tech. This was given to me by a friend, and it was really ugly. It was faux country with pink and white roses on it, I think. It was really not good. And she said, Ali, do you want this? I'm sure you could do something with it. You transform. And I'm like, oh, yeah, straight up. Navy blue. It's some Porter's paint that I had left over from the mosaicing project I did. So I've painted this, and somewhere in this room, see, this is why I'm hoping you can all help me. I had to tidy up about a month ago, and I moved a stencil that I had, and I've got a stencil, it's got a mandala on it, and I'm going to do modelling paste, so it'll be a raised stencil, and then I'm going to rub on some copper rub, and I'm going to put a bit of copper rub around, so it's going to have this lovely blue with a copper image on the front that's raised like medallion stencil. So if you can help me find, it's a lime green stencil. It's somewhere in this room. It's a mandala shape. So I can finish this silly project, and I want to put this in the garden, and I'll put some succulents or something hanging out of the top of it. So it'll just be a display piece out there in one of my little areas around the house or something. But this, I'll do it before and after on Instagram, because this was but ugly when I got it, and it's going to look really nice when the stencil's found. I have the rub over there, I have the modelling paste over there, I've got everything I need to complete this project but the stencil. So all of you out there in Ali's Stitching World viewers, help me find the lime green stencil. There are about a dozen places it could be. I don't generally lose things. I have an idea of exactly where things are. I have stencils away in the filing cabinet, not there. I have some other things over here for paper crafting that it could possibly have been in, not there. So I have looked in every conceivable place that a stencil would have been placed when I had my tidy up, and I know I did not throw it out. So help if you can. So here we are. I'm going to do a draw. All my names are in here. Shake them up, pull her name out, and the winner is Knitter Stitch. Knitter Stitch, you have won the project bags from Andrea at the lovely Phil and 69. So I will make a comment on your comment. Can you please probably PM me on Instagram, and hopefully you follow me on Instagram. If not, you can request to follow me because I've got a private account. And I really hope you are an Australian viewer as well, otherwise we'll have to do this process again. And I will send this to you next week after maybe. I've got a pretty busy week next week, but anyway, it will get to you very soon. The mail is pretty well back to normal now. So Knitter Stitch, I don't have a first name for this YouTube channel. Thank you very much. You have won the gorgeous project bags from Andrea at Phil and 69. She does a beautiful job. They're really, really nice. And actually, I saw on Fox and Rabbit's channel that she'd sent some to Karen and Bren as well. So she must know them. They're beautiful. She does a really good job. I really can't speak more highly of these project bags. I would encourage you. I will be buying some from her and put some special projects in there. They are beautiful. So I think that's pretty well everything I wanted to discuss today. Varied content as ever. I am glad I showed you my wipgo projects, and that will keep me a little bit accountable to watch, getting a go on those. And yeah, I'm also very glad and thankful, Mary, that you showed me Deborah Harry's bags. I have heard of them, but I didn't connect the fact that she's used needlepoint in bags, because That's very clever. I just remember hearing that name and, having flashbacks to Blondie songs. Obviously, the lead singer for Blondie was Deborah Harry. So, happy stitching to you all. Happy crafting. I hope that you are having a wonderful today. Here is a public holiday for Labor Day. We've had 3 Mondays off in a row, with Easter Monday, then Anzac, which is a celebration of for soldiers, and then now this Labor Day. So we'll be back to no holidays now until I get school holidays in the middle of the year for winter. So I'm looking forward to all that this month will hold. I'll get a start on my new junk journal, and I'll probably show that on Instagram, and all my stitchy goodness. I will aim to finish that wedding sampler straight up within the coming days. It's really quite quick. And yeah, get a go on some of these wipgo projects, and then I'm sure Let Love Rain and Pumpkin Hollow, not Pumpkin Hollow, Autumn and Hawk Run Hollow will rear their heads again, because they are calling my name. I really, 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 really would like to have those 2 finished, and then I could have them on the finished table at Stitch North. So that's my little lofty goal there. Let's see if that can be, wouldn't it be good to finish one of these projects and actually stitch it onto a bag and take the bag to Stitch North? That'd be pretty cool too, wouldn't it? All these goals. It would just be great. No one in my life cares. As I joked on one of my videos, I could go around my house and hang all my projects upside down, and hell would freeze over before anyone who lives here would notice that. So it's just going to be wonderful to be in a room of people that is stitches, and we can all gossip and chat about stitching and laugh and giggle and drink and be merry and eat good food and stitch and make some good memories. So I'm really, 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 really looking forward to next April. I know that's extravagant to fly from Brisbane to Canada to go to a stitching retreat, but I can, so I will. I'll enjoy every second of it. And obviously my trip afterwards to Pammy is going to be a highlight as well. And hopefully, fingers crossed, now that, because we got waylaid with the pandemic, we had started and said to each other, we'll go each way. She'll come my way, I'll go her way once a year, which we started that. I went her way in 2018. She came my way in 2019. Then pandemic hit. So we're back on track. And that time of the year is actually really good for both of us. April, she was at mine. I was at hers in May last time, and she was here over Easter, sort of April, May. So it's a really nice time of year for both of our homes to be either side. So fingers crossed we can do that again, and just start that tradition. We obviously enjoy each other's company and have a good time. So thank you, Pammy, for inviting me. She hit me up and said, you've got to come. Or she was nicer about that than that, but that's what I heard. You've got to go, Ali. It's compulsory. You're coming. I'm like, oh, okay. If you make me, if you if you twist my arm, I suppose I'll have to do it, Pammy. Goodness me, you're a tough woman. Anyway, we're going to have a ball, and obviously you'll see all that. I'm really, really looking forward to it. It's going to be so much fun. Thank you for putting it on, Carolyn. I know there would be a whole lot of work involved with putting on a stitching retreat. I can only imagine. So look forward to meeting you and many of the others that are coming along. And we twisted Deb Fazler's arm, Annette Wright from Annette Acres. I hit her up. She's coming. We're going to finally meet. A few others couldn't, unfortunately. Letitia from Crafty Curator, I hit her up. She's coming. So, so Deb and Letitia I've met before in New Jersey. So it'll be good to connect with them again. So, I'm really, really looking forward to it. Quite frankly, you'll probably get sick. You'll probably wish this 12 months would go really quickly so I could stop talking about it and then just be there. And it's happened already. Anyway, thank you very much, and fingers crossed you get all that you want to achieve done in this month for your stitching or crafting or whatever you're into. And anyway, whatever it is that you do, have fun, have a smile, enjoy and relax. And this hobby is a wonderful thing, and I hope that it is relaxing and peaceful for you as well in whatever you need at this point in time. So thank you for watching. Have a nice day, and we'll see you again next month. Bye.